Disney's Genie Plus changed the park hopping rules, so how do you navigate the 2 parks in one day with the hottest attractions? Let's find out. But first, coffee. Okay, now we can go. Thank you. Appreciate it. We are starting today's Park Hopper Challenge at Epcot, home to the newest attractions in Walt Disney World, Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, as well as some very popular favorites like Frozen Ever After and Test Track. Then we're going to hop over to Disney's Hollywood Studios that has also some of the newest and most popular attractions in Walt Disney World. Rise of the Resistance, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, Tower of Terror, Slinky Dog Dash. The purpose of this video is to a little bit more show you how to realistically use the program, because of course no one's going to come in and just use Genie Plus and not also use Standby, or maybe not also use Virtual Queue or Fancy Rides. So we're going to be using a combination of the two to get through as many popular rides as we can in one day. My goal today is to do 5 attractions in each park using a combination of Genie Plus, Fancy Ride, Single Rider, Standby, and Virtual Queue. There's so many ways to get on a ride and break it down for you, and hopefully these tips and tricks will help next time you're on vacation. And the reason I'm going from Epcot to Disney's Hollywood Studios is one, you requested it. I reached out on our Discord, which is part of Mammoth Club, anybody can join, and asked what would be helpful. And a lot of people said, please, I'm trying to go to Epcot, hot to Hollywood. They're connected by the Skyliner. This is a very popular path. How do you tackle it with so many brand new fun rides? What do you prioritize? How do you make it happen? So you know what? Now we're making it happen. And as I walk to our first attraction today, you know it's time for a little Genie Plus 101. Disney Genie is the new paid service that allows you to skip the lines at many of the attractions around Walt Disney World. There are 3 levels of Disney Genie. There's free Disney Genie, which simply allows you to create customized itineraries within the Disney app, see things like the tip board and predictive wait times. There's Genie Plus, which is $15 per person per day. It allows you access to the Lightning Lanes at over 40 different attractions across all 4 parks. The Lightning Lane is the expedited line, the physical place at the attraction. And Fancy Rides, as I call them, or individual Lightning Lanes, as Disney calls them, are a paid per ride selection where you pay a single fee per person to access that attraction only. You do not have to purchase Genie Plus to buy Fancy Rides, and vice versa. When it comes to Genie Plus attractions, anyone, regardless of where they're staying, can book their first one at 7 a.m. When it comes to Fancy Rides, Walt Disney World Resort guests can book their first one at 7 a.m. Non-Disney World Resort guests can book them at what time that park opens. For example, Epcot opened at 8:30 today, which means you could have booked it at 8:30. Now, here's where things just got tricky and more difficult. When it comes to Genie Plus, you can book your second Lightning Lane after either you've used the first one, your first one expired because you didn't use it for some reason, or it's been 120 minutes since you booked one. That is in case you want to book something, it's really popular, you book one that's pretty far out. Disney doesn't want you to have a big long gap of time where you're not able to use the Lightning Lane, so you can book another one in 2 hours. A very recent update, which I actually love, now pins at the top of the tip board automatically. It lets you know when you can book your next one. So it'll say you can book your next one now, or it'll say you can book your next one at a certain time. And that will change throughout the day, so that's a great update. The big change though, the thing everyone is confused about, is how to park hop now. Because yes, you can book a Lightning Lane for a park you are not currently standing in or you don't have a park reservation for if you're hopping into it later. However, you can no longer book it until that return window is past 2 p.m. Previously, at 7 a.m., if you had an Animal Kingdom reservation, you could immediately book Space Mountain and it would default to a 2 p.m. or later time. Unfortunately, this was eating up all the afternoon times for the guests that were actually in the park. So now you have to wait until that attraction's return time is 2 p.m. or later, and then you can book it. This update did not impact Fancy Rides at all, because unlike Genie Plus attractions, which are a next available service, Fancy rides, you actually pick which time you'd like to go, and it would never let you pick a time before 2 p.m. if you were booking it at a park you weren't starting at. So, that does impact stacking, as a lot of people call it, which is when you book several lightning lanes in a row and have kind of a stack of them. I've done other videos on this at Magic Kingdom. My last Genie Plus video, I focused a lot on stacking as well. You can go watch those out for very clear explanations on stacking. We did a little stacking today so far as well. Because you have to, again, wait. You no longer can get up right at 7 and book something. You have to wait and sit there and look at it until it gets after 2 p.m. This is made more difficult in the mornings because they're no longer showing what time the return windows are, because people were hesitating and waiting because they were trying to pick what time they wanted, which the system doesn't want you to do. There are some attractions you will still be able to book very, very quickly at 7 a.m. because their return times go so quickly. Slinky Dog Dash, that's what I did in the Magic Kingdom to Hollywood Studios video I'm talking about. Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, Frozen Ever After. Those ones book up pretty quick, so it'll be pretty quick after 7 a.m. that you're able to book them. But as you're going to see throughout the day today, you have to wait for a while to get some of them to move on to 2 p.m., and that's why it's annoying. So this is how you tackle your morning. Number one, first thing you should do at 7 a.m., join the virtual queue for Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. That is going to go the fastest. That should be your top priority. Number two, book your Genie Plus attraction for the day. Not your fancy ride, your Genie Plus attraction. And number three, book your fancy ride. Whether that be at 7 a.m. because you're a resort guest or the time the park opens because you're not a resort guest, that is still the order you want to book those things in. Why that order? Well, because it's going from the most access of people to the least access of people. At 7 a.m., anybody with an Epcot reservation can book Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, and they go within seconds. At 7 a.m., anybody with Genie Plus can book a lightning lane. That's less people than Guardians because people have to pay for it, but it's still more people than our resort guests trying to book at whatever park you're trying to book at for a fancy ride. So that's your list, that's your order. Virtual queue, Genie Plus, fancy rides. That's your 7 a.m. order if you're going to Epcot. Going back to that 120-minute rule, my Remy's Ratatouille Adventure Pass wasn't until 11:30. Following the 120-minute rule, which kicks off as soon as the park opens, I could book another attraction at 10:30, and at 10:30 I booked Frozen Ever After. So I walked into the park with a virtual queue return time for Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, a lightning lane for Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, a lightning lane for Frozen Ever After, and over at Hollywood Studios, I already have booked a fancy ride at Rise of the Resistance. Lots to know, lots to learn, but we're setting up for a great day. Let's go save the galaxy. Whew, I am sweating. It is hot. There's so many words. Hopefully it's all making sense. Let's go. Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind is the newest attraction in all of Walt Disney World. It is a super fun coaster where you are going to join your favorite Guardian, Star-Lord, Groot, Drax, Rocket, Gamora, to save the galaxy from being erased, basically. Now, this attraction has tons of fun Easter eggs, tons of fun details. You can check that out in my Epcot Secrets video. There's so much to know. That video takes you on some of Epcot's most popular attractions. We're going to reveal a bunch of backstory, Imagineering details, secrets, Easter eggs, etc., etc. But what we're going to talk about right now is how to get on this ride. There are only 2 ways to ride this attraction, and either one is to just go stand in a line. This is a fancy ride, which means you can purchase it. It typically runs between $14 and $17 per person, so you can buy it. And if you are not starting in Epcot, that is often the only way that you can access this attraction. However, if you are starting at Epcot, you've got an Epcot park reservation, you can book yourself a spot in the virtual queue at 7 a.m. Now, starting at 6 a.m., you can verify your party. I highly recommend doing that. You don't have to do it right at 6 a.m., but sometime before 7 a.m., go verify your party and make sure that everybody that wants to ride is listed there. Then, use a world clock to help you count down to 7 a.m., and at 6:59:59, start hitting that refresh button, which will then turn into a Join Virtual Queue button. Click that as soon as you can, and hopefully you will get a spot in the virtual queue. If you don't get a spot at 7 a.m., there is another queue at 1 p.m. However, for the 1 p.m. queue, you have to be inside Epcot. You have to have tapped into the park. Anyone that wants to ride has to have tapped into the park. Once you're in the virtual queue, it will give you a boarding group number, and it will give you an estimated return time. keep an eye on that because it could change throughout the day as the attraction crowds ebb and flow. Then when it's your time to come save the galaxy, they'll send you a push notification. You can also check in your virtual queue, and they give you an hour window to return. Tap in and you'll go right through the queue. I do want to point out that if you are staying for extended evening hours on those select nights as either a DVC, Villa, or Deluxe Resort guest, on those nights there is a third virtual queue option at 6 p.m. Just for those guests. Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind has a 42-inch height requirement, and it's a first-of-its-kind ride vehicle. Disney Imagineers are calling it an Omni Coaster because the cars not only zip around throughout the galaxy in the dark, but they also can spin 360 degrees, so they can gear you to look at what part of the show they'd like you to see. Now, this does make some people incredibly nauseous. There is simulator screens of showing you what you'd like to see. However, I don't think it makes me near as nauseous as attractions over at Universal, like Forbidden Journey, like Transformers, or attractions here like Star Tours or Mission Space. If you're concerned about getting nauseous, I recommend requesting the front row. One thing I do like about the virtual queue, I know it's kind of a pain, I know it's stressful, however, I do like that you don't then have to spend a long time waiting in line. Typically, I've only waited about 15 minutes or so to get on the attraction after scanning in at the front, which is nice that you're not waiting in a 4-hour line to ride Disney's newest attraction. Attraction is so good. I got Tears for Fears, which I know a lot of people love. That's not my favorite. I like a faster jam, but no matter what, it's a great time. One of my favorite parts on that attraction, if you listen to the Guardians speak while you're on the ride, at the end, they finally catch the bad guy, and Star-Lord goes, "It's about time." And Drax goes, "The whole thing's been about time. Are you not paying attention?" And that joke always makes me LOL. Next up, I've got a little bit of time still to get over to Remy, so I'm going to go ahead and knock out Test Track while I'm here. I don't have a lightning lane for this one, but I'm going to use single rider, which is how I recommend riding Test Track if you don't have a lightning lane. This attraction is very popular. It also will close for inclement weather, and it often just closes because she's temperamental. So we want to go ahead and knock this one out while we're right here. Single rider is a designated queue at a variety of attractions, both at Walt Disney World and at Universal Orlando, and it is designed to fill in empty seats, so you will likely be separated from your party, but you will also likely have a much shorter wait. Now, there's some attractions where I don't really recommend using single rider, like Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, because the fun of that attraction is riding with your party. And while at Test Track, you do not get to do the full design a car thing in single rider, you more just get to choose from pre-made cars. If you do the real queue, the standby or the lightning lane, you get to design your car from the ground up as opposed to just picking one of the pre-made cars. This attraction to me is a little overrated, I'm sorry, and it's not worth the long wait that it typically has. Now, this is a great use of a lightning lane if this is a must-do on your list. However, because both Frozen Ever After and Remy's Ratatouille Adventure have been added to Genie Plus, at one point both of those were fancy rides, this is actually a lower priority on the list. For Epcot, I say Remy's Ratatouille Adventure is typically the number one, and then it's tied between Frozen and Test Track, whichever one's more important to you for number two. But with single rider, I walked right up and now I'm going to be in the next car. So this is a great way to get something done, especially on a busy day when you've got a lot of attractions on your list. Test Track has a 40-inch height requirement, and it's definitely really popular with kids. My nephews love this one because they love anything with wheels and cars and trucks and everything, so that is kind of the target audience for this attraction. But for me, I drive faster than this on the way to Epcot, and especially with Cosmic Rewind here is the big thrill ride. Test Track's just not my favorite.
Connecting to All-Star.
Test Track in the nick of time. It's now listed as closed on the app, and I even got stuck for a few minutes. So it closed because of weather. It started to spit and thunder. Not enough for me to get my rain jacket out yet, but enough for the hat. Good thing the rest of the attractions at Epcot are indoors, and so are most of the attractions at Hollywood Studios. So these are two good parks to go to when dealing with Florida thunderstorms. And we are off to France to see everyone's favorite little chef. Two things I want to point out as we walk to France. Ooh, you hear that thunder? One, as soon as I joined the virtual queue, the system prompted me to select a lightning lane, which I thought was very nice that I didn't have to go back to the tip board on my own. For Genie Plus, you can purchase it day of, starting at midnight. Now, you don't have to get up at midnight. That doesn't give you any advantage, but you definitely want to have it booked and linked up before 7 a.m. so you're ready to go. Second of all, I know that this is inconvenient to walk from Future World over to France, and then we're gonna have to go to Norway after this. But with booking Remy as my first Genie Plus, I didn't get any chance to decide what time I wanted. It doesn't even show you the times when you book them first thing in the morning anymore, so it's kind of just you get what you get. And third, you might have noticed I didn't rope drop this morning. A lot of people like to sleep in, especially on their Epcot day. The real bummer right now is that the Skyliner is closed. As you can imagine, it can't run in thunderstorms. So I've got a few more things to cross off here at Epcot. Hopefully the weather will pass over and the Skyliner will work. Otherwise, I'll have to take the bus or mayhaps the boat over to Hollywood Studios. Remy's Ratatouille. I feel like I should have to say it like that every time, or not. Adventure is the second newest ride in Walt Disney World. It opened up officially for Disney World's 50th anniversary on October 1st of 2021. It, along with this entire France expansion, are so adorable in my opinion. There are tons of Easter eggs and details from the film. Again, go check out that Epcot Secrets video to learn a few of them. Remy is a family ride, meaning there's no height requirement. It has the trackless vehicles similar to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway or Rise the Resistance. And it is in 3D, and it does have screens. So some people get nauseous on this attraction. For me personally, I'm typically okay. I think because you're moving through big practical sets, I think that's why this one's okay for me. All right, let's go. Hi, Remy. Remy's Ratatouille Adventure is definitely the most popular attraction in Epcot on Genie Plus. So if this is something that you'd like to do, I recommend this being the one you book first at 7 a.m. Again, you don't get to pick what time it's at, so you might get a really early time, you might get a later time. But if you want to ride this one and it's a busy day, you should be ready to book this one at 7 a.m.
Vous voilà. Venez, venez, venez. Suivez-moi, je vous prie. Les invités pour le dîner.
Pour le repas idéal. Coca-Cola? No. A simple omelet? Too simple.
Voilà.
Mais oui, that's it! Idée! Not pour vous! Hey guys! The food is Dépêchez-vous. Par ici. Go, go. Oui, ma chérie.
It's actually time for me to book my next Lightning Lane, because it's been 2 hours since I booked my last one. As a pro tip, again, now you can see on the app when you're able to book another one. Set an alarm for that time, so that way you are always booking one when you're able to. But I think I'm going to look at Hollywood Studios and see what I can start to book over there, so that way I have some ready, stacked, if you will, when we go to Hollywood. The reason I'm going to look at Hollywood Studios instead of booking another thing at Epcot is because, like I said, my goal today is to do 5 attractions at each park, and I've already knocked out all the big ones by doing the virtual queue for Guardians, by doing single rider at Test Track, and by booking Lightning Lanes at Remy's and Frozen. Those are the big ones. The next biggest one would be Soarin'. That's had about a 20-minute wait all day. And then things like Living with the Land, The Seas with Nemo and Friends, Figment, Spaceship Earth, those have been 10 minutes or less all day. So I'm not going to waste a Lightning Lane there when those waits are low and I can go on standby, and instead I can go ahead and book something at Hollywood Studios and kick off that next 120 minutes. But what to book? That is the question. Let's take a look. All right, let's take a look. Ooh, a Slinky Dog. Slinky Dog for about 5 o'clock? Yes, please. I got. That's what I call it when you click on a Lightning Lane that you'd like, and then by the time it selects it, it either says that's not available anymore or it gives you a time you didn't want. So it went from 5:10 to like 8 something. That's too late. I don't know that I'm going to be there that late. We got things to do. 8 o'clock's too late. I don't want to have a Lightning Lane that far off in the future. I know for a lot of people, if this was them, they'd be coming back to Epcot to watch Harmonious. And then hopefully not too far off future, Fantasmic will be back. We don't have a date yet, but 8 o'clock's too late. That's nighttime spectacular time. So we're going to keep fiddle-faddling for something else. Gonna fiddle-faddle. And fiddle-faddle is just my phrase for just refreshing the screen to see if new times pop up. See if I can get another sooner Slinky Dog. What's interesting is that it is a very slow day today, and some things I still can't even book. Like Rock and Roller Coaster still isn't past 2 p.m., so I can't even book it if I wanted to. Let's look at Tower. Okay, yeah, let's do Tower of Terror, so that when I get there, I can go down Sunset, and then hopefully I can book Rock and Roller Coaster next. What do you mean I can't book it? What do you mean there's a park hopper restriction? Oh, the Genie got me in reverse. It changed the time when I was trying to book like a 2:20 Tower of Terror, and it changed it to a 1:20 Tower of Terror, a 1 o'clock selling Tower of Terror, which then violates the park hopper rule. So I had to fiddle-faddle for the reverse. I had to fiddle-faddle to wait until Tower was later again. What are you gonna do? Anyway, I booked Tower of Terror, so now I currently hold Frozen, which we're going to right now here, Tower of Terror, which is over at Hollywood Studios, obviously, and a fancy ride for Rise. One thing I know is confusing is knowing when you can book the next one. That's why I do think that update to show you very blatantly on the screen is so helpful. So basically, once you've booked a ride and you've waited your 2 hours or you've tapped in, that ride is gone. That ride doesn't mean anything to you anymore. So it's not like I can go ride Frozen and then book another one because I already waited 2 hours and booked another one based on Frozen. I hope that makes sense. Because again, it's either after you've tapped in, if it expires, or once it's been 120 minutes, not and. Frozen Ever After is what replaced Maelstrom. It is a family-friendly boat ride through the Frozen story with animatronics, with the music. I think this attraction is adorable. I love a classic Disney boat ride. I love a classic Disney dark ride through a story. And you know Disney was going to make one about Frozen. It's like one of the highest grossing films Disney's ever made. So I think this attraction is adorable, and so do a lot of people. There's Frozen Fever. This line is usually very, very long. It's a pretty slow day here at Epcot, and Frozen still has a 55-minute wait. So this is a great use of a Lightning Lane. I still think on most days you're going to want to book Remy's Ratatouille Adventure first, but this one is a close second, especially if you have a diehard Frozen fan in your party. But if Remy's Ratatouille isn't important to you, or you've got a diehard Frozen fan, or you'd rather take the gamble on Remy's, then this one is a great one to rope drop. As you can see, it's very crowded in here, and don't let the short-looking line fool you. It'll often look very short, but still say a long wait, and I promise you it is that long because of how slow the load-unload is and the load capacity of the boats. Olaf and Sven are two of the cutest animatronics ever. When little Olaf goes, "See you there," and his little like branch arm waves at you at the beginning, and then when Sven has his tongue stuck on the icicle, like they're just such cute animatronics. It's still raining a little bit. It's mostly spitting. I'm not really getting that wet. But you know when I did get wet on that ride, normally sitting in the middle prevents me from getting that wet. But my derriere is soaked right now, and I'm annoyed by it. So, yeah, you could get very wet on Frozen. Like I said, I normally like to sit in the middle because I'm solo, and normally you only get wet if you're on the ends. But today was a big old splash, and it swamped right into the boat. Now my skirt's wet. Good thing I'm wearing an athletic material. It'll hopefully dry fast, but just your daily reminder to sacrifice your kids to the outside because they'll get more wet than you. Okay, we have one more attraction to do here in Epcot before we can bop over to Hollywood Studios. Now I will say the Skyliner is definitely still down. The boats might also be down because of the weather, which means we'll have to take a bus, which is the front of the park. What should we ride? I also kind of want a snack. At this point, everything in the park that I haven't already done has a 5-minute wait, except for Soarin', which has a 20-minute wait. So I can just pick my top priority, but I'm going to stop here in Mexico first and get a little sneaky snack. If the weather clears up while I'm eating my snack and I'll be able to ride the Skyliner or the boat, I will head into the Mexico Pyramid and ride Grand Fiesta Tour as my final attraction. However, if it doesn't, I'm going to have to take the bus to Hollywood Studios, which means I have to walk to the front anyway, and then I'll pick a fake Future World attraction. Decided to grab a bite at one of my favorite quick service spots in Epcot. This is La Cantina de San Angel, which is the Mexico quick service. It's on the lagoon side. It's normally very, very busy, but because it's a little rainy outside, I was able to easily snag a seat, and I have one of my favorite food hacks for you, and that's ordering off the kids menu, friends. The kids meals here are $9.25, and you can get the empanadas con queso, which are also on the adult menu. You get more of them on the adult menu, but on the kids menu, you get 2 cheese empanadas. It comes with chips and queso and fruit and a drink. It cannot be a beer, sadly, I asked. And then I added sour cream for a small upcharge. But this was $9. This is a full meal for sure, or a really good snack to share amongst a couple people. Like, watch this. Look how cheesy. You know me, you know I love the cheese. And I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna dip it in more cheese. So good, so simple, so cheesy. Their food is really good here. I recommend eating a meal here too. Their tacos are great. They're actually spicy and they have a little bit of heat there. But if you want something simple, empanadas are great. If you do want empanadas with meat, across the street, like Chosen to Margarita, the little margarita stand has really good barbacoa empanadas. This is the good queso too. And it comes again with the kids meal with the chips, or it's 75 cents to add it to any meal. And the other best thing about this restaurant is that it has tacos and bowls and nachos and empanadas and everything, but it also has macaroni and cheese and chicken tenders. So if you've got pickier eaters or kids, but mom and dad, you want to get like a good margarita, or you want to get some nachos or empanadas or something, it's a good place to compromise. Back at the front of the park, the weather, it's still not really raining, but it's still thundering, and the Skyliner's still down. And the way I know the Skyliner's still down is the outdoor attractions are still closed. If you look at the tip board and see that like all the outdoor attractions are closed, then most likely the Skyliner's down as well. You can always find and ask a guest experience cast member as well, just to confirm. But safe assumption that the Skyliner's down. I also didn't see it moving as I was walking by. So I can pick from anything I want in Future World, fake Future World. And since nothing has a wait, really, including Soarin', I might as well ride an attraction that leads me to a friend I haven't said hello to in a while. That's right. Many of you may have predicted that we are going to head on the seas, thank you, with Nemo and friends. This is a family ride. It's a slow-moving omnimover that takes you through the story of Finding Nemo, and it dumps you out into the sea base, which is a real-life aquarium with sharks and rays and turtles and manatees and dolphins, and one of my very dearest friends. This attraction tends to have a lower wait. In fact, if you ever see it higher than like 30 minutes, don't get in line. because it will drop throughout the day. I really like this attraction. I'm a big fan of any Disney dark ride that's going to take me through a story. And even though Finding Nemo is not one of my favorites, I love a dark ride like this, plus, you know, sharks. But this is a great filler attraction. It's a great one to bring your little ones on since there's no height requirement and kids tend to enjoy Finding Nemo.
Nemo!
Where?
I don't know where. That's why I'm trying to
Find who?
Nemo! Where are you? Wait, do something!
Hey, Sniper Dog! Can't catch me!
What are you? Swim over and
I do just think that ride is so cute. I especially love the end when they project the Nemo fish into the real aquarium. So you'll see like Mr. Ray swimming next to a real Ray. It's very fun. And now we are in the aquarium, which I enjoy. This is a great place. It's called the Sea Base. It's a great place to get out of the heat or the rain, let your kids kind of run about in a contained manner, and look at different aquariums and fish. There's a free scavenger hunt you can do with Dory. This is also where Turtle Talk is, the interactive show with Crush. But most importantly, it is the home to one of my nearest and dearest, and I think you've all missed saying hello to him. Hey, Mr. Eel, how are you? Well, hey, Molly. Hey, Mama Club. It's me, Mr. Eel. I hope you subscribed. Join the club. They got Twitch, YouTube, Discord, all kinds of fun. Well, Mr. Eel, I've missed you so much, and your friendship's been so inspiring. I really appreciate the support as we launch our new channel, and just wanted to come say hey, and then I love you, and then I've got a Mammoth Club sticker for you that I'll give you that so you can put it on your little rock there. Well, thank you so much, Molly. Thank you, everyone. Come say hi. Tag Mammoth Club on Instagram if you take a picture with me. Love y'all. Bye. A manager saw me engaging with Mr. Eel, and he came by to let me know that he was a snowflake eel. Those are the white ones, and that they have 4 snowflake eels. And he told me their names are actually named after the direwolves in Game of Thrones. So there's Lady, Summer, Namira, and Ghost. I think that's a very fun fact. I think that's very cool. I also think it's cute that he doesn't realize one of them's named Mr. Eel. But yeah, had to go see a friend. Say hey to Mr. Eel while you're here. Still not raining, which we love, but I can hear the low grumbles of thunder. So we are going to head to Hollywood Studios. Unfortunately, no Skyliner for us today, which bumps me out because I love the Skyliner. There is a bus when the Skyliner's down. Anywhere that you could have gotten via Skyliner, they do operate buses. So to the Skyliner resorts, Caribbean Beach, Pop, Art of Animation, you could take a bus now. And I would be able to take a bus to Hollywood Studios as well. But at this point, I might as well just go move my car. Bye, Epcot. All right, I'll see you in Hollywood. And just like that, we're in Disney's Hollywood Studios, specifically on Sunset Boulevard, where we have our first and second attraction here during our challenge. On the way here, my time was up for my next attraction, so safely, while not driving my car, I was able to pull a rock and roller coaster for about right now, which means I can ride both attractions on Sunset before rise. As a friendly reminder, because I know the day has gotten chaotic, I booked Tower of Terror while I was still in Epcot after Frozen Ever After. And then, once that 2 hours had worn off, I booked Rock and Roller Coaster. So I know it's so confusing, and again, the best thing to do is just keep a timer going, keep an alarm going for when you're able to book the next one, if you're going to be booking them spaced out like this, or if you're just in one park per day, then you're more likely just going to be like booking it, riding it, maybe doing some filler stuff in between. But this so far is working pretty well with park hopping. I do find that the inventory is a lot more available than it used to be, when you could book the 2 p.m. spots right away at the beginning of the day. Ooh, rumbly grumbly. Tower of Terror, definitely a fan fave. Some people's favorite ride in all of Walt Disney World. Don't blame them. The detail is amazing. I can't remember if my Hollywood Studios details video has come out already or not, but we're going to talk a lot about Tower and some of those Twilight Zone Easter eggs. Tower of Terror also has a 40-inch height requirement. It's a drop situation, so some people don't like it because of that. I personally don't care for the drop thing. Like, I don't like it as much as a roller coaster. I don't mind it, but it's not my favorite style of attraction. But what's amazing about this attraction is the detail, the Easter eggs, the theming. One of the best, if not the best queue in Walt Disney World with that. So we love it for all those reasons. Plus, it's just iconic, right? Tower of Terror, check. Definitely a popular attraction, always has been since it opened. If you are booking things at Hollywood Studios exclusively, I would say, number one is usually going to be Slinky Dog Dash, unless you don't care about Slinky Dog Dash. And then number two, Tower of Terror is a great choice. I will say, for a long time this year, the attraction had half of it under refurbishment, so the wait times were really, really long and the lightning lanes were few and far between. Now that it's back open to full capacity, it's a little bit easier to get a lightning lane, so I would kind of tier your second choice. So I would go top tier, Slinky Dog, second tier, your choice between Millennium Falcon, Smuggler's Run, Tower of Terror. Third tier, I would say, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. And this one right here, Rock and Roller Coaster. Rock and roll. Rock and Roller Coaster has the highest height requirement of an attraction inside a Disney theme park, 48 inches, because it's the only attraction that goes upside down, not once, but twice, but 3 times. It's got that 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds launch, and your ears are tickled by the sweet, sweet, hello! Your ears are tickled by the sweet, sweet sounds of Aerosmith. Rock and Roller Coaster does have a single rider line, so on a normal day you can hop in there and it may make your wait a little bit faster. I will say it's not quite as fast as Test Track. I've said this before, but the seats are 2x2 here on Rock and Roller Coaster, where they're 3x3 on Test Track. There's more odd numbered parties than even numbered parties, so it's easier to have someone fill in there than with an even numbered party. But it still should save you some time if you want to not wait in the standby and you also don't have lightning lane. It's about to start storming again, so they actually brought the cast members in to tap in under the cover here with a tablet as opposed to tapping in at the main touch points up front. But now that I have tapped in here at Rock and Roller Coaster, I'm officially caught up with my stacking lightning lanes. Of course, I still have my Rise of the Resistance one, which I'm going to head to next, but I can go ahead and book another Genie Plus lightning lane. Alright, let's take a look-see.
All the way down.
We're about to go in the pre-show. I don't want to talk throughout that, but let's see if I can grab something quick. My best recommendation, if you are, caught up and you're not booking at that 120 minutes out, is to book something as soon as possible. But also know, if you want to change something, you can't modify it. You have to cancel it and rebook it, so it's a little bit of a pain. So I always recommend doing a little fiddle-faddling, doing a little checking, making sure it's something that you really want for just a moment or two. Don't spend a long time doing it, and then locking that in. I'm trying to think about my path, because I'm going to go from here to Rise. So then I could do Smugglers. Slinky's closed for weather and out for the day, so I probably won't get Slinky. Smugglers and Toy Story Mania are kind of what I'm looking at, because then I can maybe end the day with Runaway Railway, or maybe by that point Slinky will be back up. Booked a Toy Story Mania that starts in just a few minutes, so by the time I go ride Rise and I'm done, that window will still be open, and I can go ride Toy Story Mania.
Once again, get all the way in. Do not sit, stand, and climb on the rails, and do not use the flash on your phone.
What you do is send them all with you?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, I love that idea. Me too. How about some backstage passes?
Yeah.
Y'all never believe this. I was taking a tour of this studio and I saw Aerosmith recording, and then they gave me backstage passes to their concert? That never happens. Wow. Rock and Roller Coaster, check. If you're wondering, I got the song Sweet Emotion. Much like Cosmic Rewind, you don't know what song you're gonna get, except for unlike Cosmic Rewind, it's all songs by the same artist. And last time I was here, I asked what a good secondary band would be if Aerosmith wasn't available. You may know Disney originally pitched this to the Rolling Stones. I said, you know, if everyone was alive, Queen would be a great choice. But as I'm walking through the courtyard, Bon Jovi's playing, and I feel like Living on a Prayer would be a sweet, sweet song during that attraction. And now we go from Sweet Emotion to the March of the First Order. It's time to go to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge and ride the most popular ride in Disney World. Made it into Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, Star Wars Land that opened up in 2019. And we are headed to ride Rise of the Resistance, the most popular attraction in all of Walt Disney World. As a friendly reminder, this is a fancy ride, meaning it's an individual cost to ride this attraction. I booked it at 8:30 this morning. That's when Disney's Hollywood Studios opened. I was shocked and surprised to see that they had lightning lanes available, because usually they are all gone shortly after 7 a.m. when the resort guests get access to them. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, they've continued to be available for most of the day. I don't know if that's because it's a very slow time of year right now. I don't know if it's because they're finally figuring out the inventory. I don't know if it's because it hasn't had many technical downtimes today, which is a feat for this attraction, or some combination of all three. But it seems like it's possible that non-resort guests may be able to get lightning lanes more frequently now. Hello. Thank you. Because this is the second time I've been able to buy one as a non-resort guest, and that's the second time ever, like since Genie Plus existed. I have never, until today and a couple weeks ago when I shot a different video, been able to buy a lightning lane as a non-resort guest. If you are a resort guest, you should still be ready to go at 7 to book this. But remember, only after you've booked virtual queue if you're worried, if you're starting at Epcot, and your lightning lane for Genie Plus. Remember, Fancy Ride comes 3. That said, on a busy time, on a busier week than this, if Rise of the Resistance is your ride or die, if not riding this attraction will ruin your vacation, book this one first and then go for your Genie Plus. Or if you have 2 people logged into their accounts and you guys are all linked, one person can book a fancy ride while the other person books the Genie Plus attraction. I've not tried it where you're both logged into one account. I've only tried it where like I was logged in as me and I'm linked to Alan who was logged in as him, and we were both able to do it.
BB-8, is everyone assembled? Good. Shouldn't you be in flight prep?
Roger, this is Black Leader. I hear you're to fly up a group of recruits. Well, no time to waste. Let's get you on your way to the General.
Recruits crossing to transport.
Black Leader, are you and your team ready?
Affirmative. Engines are hot. I'll go get some friends and make this a fair fight. Don't worry, I'll come back for you. Stay strong.
I got a bad feeling about this.
What I want. You know the location of the secret base, and I.
We're with the resistance. We're here to break you out. Let's go. Red and blue on your left.
Tell them it's a prisoner transfer. A probe droid.
Hey, you're not authorized. Wait, those are the prisoners.
Prisoners are single level D. Raise the shields.
Shields? I see no evidence.
Now!
All personnel to their stations.
Phantom, the location of the resistance base is secure.
It's so good. I get teary every time. I get chills every time that Ray says, "May the Force be with us" in the pre-show. And then when that music starts after you go on the bridge, it's amazing. I also want to talk about the effect. I feel like not enough people talk about it because they're too amazed by the actual part when you're in the escape, with the escape droid. When you're in the interrogation room, the effect they use for Kylo Ren using the Force on you is so cool. I will say these days, this park does tend to drop the weights a little bit lower in the afternoon, evening. I believe that's because Fantasmic is not back yet. So a lot of people hop over to Epcot or Magic Kingdom for nighttime entertainment. And here they have the projection shows, which I think are really cute and fun, but they're certainly not as spectacular or grandiose as some of the big nighttime spectaculars like Harmonious or Enchantment. When Fantasmic comes back, it'll be a different story. Also, when Fantasmic comes back, I'm gonna cry 1,000 tears into the lagoon, just sobbing hysterically. There won't be a video. I mean, there will be, but it'll just be me crying. I won't be able to speak, so hope you're ready for that. Disney posted recently that cast rehearsals have begun, so eek, maybe soon, or maybe they'll announce it by the time you see this video, and you can tell me in the comments. I don't know. From one space boyfriend to the next. Hey Buzz, love you buddy. First one being Poe Dameron, obviously. We are in Toy Story Land and gonna go tap in at Toy Story Mania and see what score we get today. Like I said, I do think this new rule is helping as far as managing the afternoon. Hello. He's getting tachos. I've noticed since this has rolled out that there tend to be lightning lanes available longer at the popular attractions. Things aren't selling out as quick, so it's annoying that it's one more rule you have to figure out and understand with the system, but it's helpful to get more things when you're actually in the parks. Thank you. Toy Story Mania, a very cute family attraction. It's a 3D shooter game with Woody, Buzz, and the whole gang. I love this attraction because you can play it many times and always have a good time because you can try and better your score or hit different targets, or I like to bet my friends and see who can win. Max and I have an ongoing battle with the shooter style games. His record's up on mine right now, but we're getting closer. I did win last time, so. Toy Story Mania is one that the wait time fluctuates quite a bit. Unlike other attractions here like Rise of the Resistance, Smuggler's Run to a certain degree, Tower of Terror to a certain degree, Rock and Roller Coaster, that kind of tend to, on a regular day, get long and stay long for most of the day. Toy Story Mania really fluctuates during the throughout the day. So it's a great use of a lightning lane. If you have Genie Plus and you've already used lightning lanes everywhere else, that's top priority. But it's also one that you can possibly jump on at a 30-minute wait. It's a 30-minute wait right now, which is much shorter than most of the other big e-tickets in the park. But I have tapped in, and it's time to see what we're going to book next. What's funny is the lightning lane for Toy Story Mania was so soon that I actually missed the window. By the time I rode Rock and Roller Coaster and did Rise of the Resistance and looked at some merchandise, I actually had eaten up that hour, because if you remember when I booked it, it was for like right that moment. So because it's a slow day, I just canceled it and rebooked it for right now. But if you are running late, you can talk to the cast members. I'm not saying an hour, I'm saying like 10 minutes late. Talk to the cast members. There usually is a short grace period on the other side, but I figured I would just cancel and rebook it to make everyone's life easier. Hi, Buzz. But now let's see what we're booking last. love, love, love that ride. Not my best sport, but I did play a couple of the games with my left hand. Don't tell Max, but I'm training so that I can crush him next time we come face to face. Gotta be ambidextrous. The last time I rode this attraction and showed the gift shop on camera, I showed all of you this adorable Woody's boot planter, and I said it had a succulent in it. But a lot of you have greener thumbs than I, and you pointed out that this type of plant is actually called a snake plant, which is so cute because there's a snake in my boot. Andy signed the bottom of it. It's adorable, but it is a fake plant. The reason I say that, my mother has one of the greenest thumbs of all time. I have a black thumb. I can't keep anything alive. When my mom comes to visit, she often buys me like dummy-proof plants at Lowe's and plants them in planters in my house and tells me how to keep them alive. And only like 50% of the time does it work. And she's always like, this is like the plant that no one can kill. Just water it once a week and it'll survive. And somehow I can kill it. She is a horticulture queen. I'm gonna text her a picture of this and see if she can tell if it's real or fake. And see if she knows what kind of plant it is. All right, see, it says I can book now. Mickey and Minnie's in 35 minutes. Coaster we already did. Slinky Dog is back up, but none available. Rock and Roller Coaster, Toy Tower. So the only things I haven't done that are like big things. I could do Alien Swirling Saucers for like right now if I wanted to. I could do Smuggler's Run for like right now if I wanted to. Star Tours for right now if I wanted to. Or Mickey and Minnie's in 35 minutes. And that's without any fiddle-faddling, which of course is refreshing to see if a sooner time pops up. So I'm going to do that for a few minutes because I'd rather ride Slinky Dog or Mickey and Minnie's, but let's see if we can pull something. Went ahead and booked Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway in about 20 minutes. Now, it only has a 30-minute wait. If you were here and you were staying through the night and not hopping back to Epcot or anything, not trying to see Fantasmic, if that was back, you should book the 8 o'clock Slinky Dog if you haven't ridden it already, and then just wait and stand by for that Mickey and Minnie's. But second thing, got a text from my mom. She says, it's a mother-in-law tongue plant, and it looks pale, so guessing fake. Mother-in-law tongue, that's not snake. Did I trick her? Hey Siri, what's a mother-in-law tongue plant?
Here's an answer from Britannica. Mother-in-law's tongue, or snake plant, Sansevieria trifasciata, is a popular houseplant with yellow striped leaves and tiny pale green scented flowers.
I didn't stump her. Is this a fun game? Should I keep trying this? Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is the newest attraction here in Hollywood Studios. It's a family attraction in the Chinese Theater, and it's taking you to the premiere of Perfect Picnic starring Mickey and Minnie Mouse. But unfortunately, things go awry, and you end up inside the cartoon. I adore this attraction. I think it is so cute. I say that every single time. It got a lot of heat when it first opened because it replaced the Great Movie Ride, but this is Mickey and Minnie's first attraction ever. It's filled with tons of Imagineering details and Easter eggs. This is one of my favorite ones to feature in that Secrets of the Park series that I did. It's just, I think it's an adorable attraction. I think Mickey and Minnie deserved an attraction. And I think it's amazing how much tech they got into an attraction without a height requirement. Reflecting back on what we learned today, top tips for you. Number 1, the order of events at 7 a.m. Virtual queue if you're going for that at Guardians of the Galaxy if you've got an Epcot Res is number 1. Number 2 is your Genie Plus Lightning Lane. If you're not going to Epcot, you're not starting at Epcot, then number 1 would be your Genie Plus Lightning Lane, and number 3 is that fancy ride. Set a world clock to count down to 7 a.m., and that's when you can start looking for whichever thing you're doing first at 7 a.m. After 7 a.m., if you're going to be using that 120-minute rule, make sure to set an alarm for each time that you can book your next one so that you are always on top of it and you always have a Lightning Lane booked. If you're not doing the 120-minute rule, make sure you're looking as soon as you tap into Genie Plus. Make a plan for your day, prioritize, be flexible, and you really can get a lot done within these parks. Let us know what other Genie content you want to see. Let us know what other content in general you want to see. Where do you want to see us go? Let us know all that down in the comments. In the meantime, friends, I'm Molly. It's been magical. Now go watch the Magic Kingdom Hollywood Studios Park Hopper video. Bye!